दोबारा आ रहा दोबारा।
अरे हम तो इधर ही हैं हरमुक्वा की तरफ।
ये तो आ ही रहा लगातार यार।
Dharali, a small village nestled in the green valley of Uttarakhand, India, used to be as peaceful as a picture. But on the morning of August 5th, 2025, an extreme rainstorm turned this place into hell. Flash floods and landslides suddenly struck, sweeping everything away in an instant. In this report, we will witness the terrifying moment when nature was angry and people could only run in vain. But in the early morning of August 5th, 2025, that picture was torn apart by a fury from nature. A localized heavy rainstorm, also known as a cloudburst, poured down like a torrent from the sky. In an instant, rocks and soil from the mountainside collapsed, carrying a flood of mud and water, rushing straight into the village. This was no longer a wild, natural scene, but a real nightmare for the hundreds of people living here. In this report, we invite you to witness the entire terrifying moment. Every picture, every roar, every moment when life hung on the fragile line between rocks and floodwater. The truck tried to cross the raging water, but within seconds, the flood overwhelmed all efforts. The weak bridge was washed away. The truck was thrown into the raging current. A wrong decision. It could cost lives. As the foundations erode, even solid concrete begins to tilt. The large building in the middle of the mountain town, now just a structure waiting to collapse. Meanwhile, below, the floodwaters rushed into the residential area, submerging the entire street in just a few minutes. Cars were swept away like toys in the raging water. This was no ordinary flood, but a warning bell for urban areas expanding on soft ground, in a context of increasingly unpredictable extreme weather. A huge mountain collapsed, blocking the rushing river. For a few seconds, the water was stopped and accumulated like a bomb waiting to explode. When the water broke through the barrier, the consequences downstream were unstoppable. At the same time, elsewhere, the sea was angry. The tsunamis surged ashore, erasing all boundaries between land and ocean. Cars, shops, entire cities, submerged in the raging water. This is when people understood, no structure is strong enough when nature is angry. The multi-story building collapsed like a cardboard box, completely submerged in the raging water. No explosion, no warning, just a tilt, and everything was gone. Outside the residential area, the floodwaters roared through the forest, knocking down large logs. Nothing could stop the fury. No roads, no fences, no people. This was not just water. It was the enormous force of nature compressed and exploded. A wake-up call for all the residential areas along rivers and mountains that are living in the illusion of safety. The thick black mud poured down like a waterfall, sweeping away trees, boulders, and all hope of escape. The houses that lay silent in the middle of the forest now suddenly became the first targets of the deadly flow. Just a short distance away, the seemingly sturdy bridge could not withstand the terrible pressure of the rushing water. In the blink of an eye, the road surface collapsed. The railings broke. The road connecting the two banks was completely wiped out. The flood not only attacked houses, it hit the infrastructure, destroying all connections and cutting off life in an entire area. The bridge collapsed amid the roar of the water. Concrete blocks were torn from the ground as if they had never existed. The scene was unexpected, but the consequences were permanent. Traffic was cut off. The entire residential area was isolated. Elsewhere, as the floodwaters rose, people still risked their lives to cling to the fragile suspension bridge. Every step was a gamble with death, with the murky water swirling below. Umbrellas could not hide the anxiety on every face. Natural disasters can strike unexpectedly, but it is poverty and lack of infrastructure that put people in the most dangerous situations. From above, the water surface looks like a silken sheet swirling madly. The asphalt road is still intact, but just a few meters away, the entire field has turned into a sea of water. The floodwaters do not burst their banks, but tear apart every piece of land, every tree, every space it passes through. At another drainage point, the pressure from two large exhaust pipes causes the concrete foundation to burst. The water does not just overflow, it shoots up, destroying everything that seems solid. The infrastructure was not prepared for such extremes, and as a result, it collapses piece by piece. This is not just a water problem, but a warning for cities that are growing faster than they can adapt to climate change. Natural disasters spare no one. Floods, landslides, tsunamis. All it takes is a few minutes to wipe out everything humans have built. We can't stop nature from getting angry, but we can prepare, adapt, and live more mindfully. Thank you for watching. See you in the next report.